Okay, today I've got a picture of a balloon that I took on a black background cloth. And I want to separate the balloon from its background. Now, there's several different methods of doing that. Of course, you know, you've got your lasso tools. You got 3 different lasso tools. We can also, we've got the pen tool. We can create a path around the pen, the balloon rather, and later on convert that to a selection. But I've got another method to show you that I'll bet that you didn't even think of if you're a beginner or an intermediate user, and that is the calculations. And the way we find that is we go into image and down here to calculations. That brings up a dialog box for the calculations. And I'm in the red channel here for both source 1 and source 2. But my blending mode, I've got quite a few different blending modes here. Let me bring this up here so you can see them all. And so I'm gonna go through all the blending modes to see which one is going to give me the highest contrast. That doesn't look too bad, and that's color dodge. Let's see, soft light, hard light, vivid light, pin light, hard light, no good. Add. I think I'll keep that. So I've got a lot of contrast going on here between the background and the image that I'm looking to select. So I'm going to hit OK here. Next thing I want to do is I want to increase the contrast. So I'm going to bring up my levels dialog box by hitting Control L, and that'll bring up this dialog box here. Now I'm going to start increasing the contrast. I'll bring the blacks up and the whites up here, and more blacks, and that looks to be just about okay right here. Now you see I've got several white spots here. I want this all white and I want the background all black. So I'll go into my my brush tool here, and I'll basically just black out. I could use either my lasso tool or the brush. I just need to black out everything that needs to be blacked out here. Okay, now so what do we do with the inside for the white? I've got another little trick up my sleeve. We're going to use the dodge tool for that. Now what I've done is I've got shadows, midtones, and highlights. I want the highlights in this here, and I'm going to set my exposure to something like, I'll get about 68-70%, and just paint anywhere to get that as white as I can. As white as I can, and everywhere else on the image to bring up any spots in the background that I might have missed. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to go back to my brush tool, and switching my foreground color to white, I'll just paint in white anywhere I need to. Switch to my black and paint in anywhere I need to. And that looks just about good to me. That looks real good. Okay. So if I go now into my layers palette, let me bring up the layers palette. Okay. If I go into my layers palette, I've got this showing here. And going into my channels palette now, I see that it's created this new alpha channel. Okay, that's great because I'm going to use that in a little while. So I'm going back to my layers palette now. And I'm going up here to select load selection, and there's that alpha channel we just created, and I want to load that, so I'm going to click OK, and that just loaded that selection right around that balloon for us. So we'll hit Control J to bring that balloon up onto its own layer. Control J, and there it is. At this particular point, if I wanted to, I could just drag that balloon into another layer, or another image rather, or I can create a layer below the balloon, fill it with any color I decide to. In this case, I'll choose black. Or how about if I change it to that? Yeah. And you know, at this particular point, if I go up to my layers balloon layer, I can create any effect now on this that I want to. If I want to create a drop shadow, I can just about do anything. So that's another way of making selections that I bet you never even thought of.